Hey, welcome back to the channel, Pilot Ryan Media. Bobby K over here, Pilot Ryan. We got another hot release for you. Can you believe it? 6-cell power, twin 64mm A-10 Thunderbolt. Buy and fly basic, AS3X, safe included. Has the same scheme as the older micro A-10. Who cares? Let's see it. I don't know how I keep from popping into these, but it's like I want to wait and let y'all see our impressions. Oh my
lordy. That is sweet. Oh, look at that scheme.
I like it. It's a three-tone gray.
That is awesome.
I never paid much attention to the micro one.
I didn't either.
Now this is
cool.
like I think it's 1100mm wingspan or something like that. But flaps, retracts, lights. Let's see.
Man, check out all the scale.
Panel lines, rivet detail.
Yes.
We're gonna do an unboxing live style, even though it's not live, but it's both of us, so that's how it goes. Bobby's gonna start cracking, and man, let's just look at some spec, dude, for a minute.
Spec it out.
Twin 64mm.
6S.
Okay, 45-inch wingspan. That's awesome.
That is.
So what's 1100mm? Like 42, 43, something like that?
Somewhere in there.
So this is more than that. It's 1150. 1149mm wingspan. It's 42 inches long.
Yeah,
I don't care.
Yeah, I was
want
gonna
to
say,
see
can we
it.
please get this out? Oh my
Dude.
goodness.
Guys, available at Horizon Hobby. Link in the description. We gotta flip it.
I got it.
Do it. Oh man, is that a one-piece wing?
Dude, check it out. It sure is.
Oh guys, this is gonna get so many modelers are gonna get into the A-10 game that have never been into it. Look at this panel line and rivet detail. Of course, what you've come to expect are these quick connect methods. So for assembly, it's easy to break it down. Oh my goodness. Ball links are all done for you already. Flaps, 2-panel each wing half. That looks awesome. And apparently, look, it's got a ton of ordnance that comes with it. Suspension landing gear on a model. Hey, we're finally seeing suspension landing gear on a model underneath 48-inch wingspan. Metal trunnion retracts, guys. And you know what? For the size and all, I'm not mad about the gear doors. It's okay. I tell you what, paint these gray, call it a day. You need to put a little something on those interior screws anyway. But I'm loving it. Pre-installed flaps and everything. Let's see.
Oh my goodness. Lights.
Are you seeing this, man?
Man, and from the looks of it, super simple. 4 steps to put this bad boy together. And oh my gosh, I'm an A-10 fanatic. I have
panel line,
every one on the market, and this thing is sweet.
Rivet detail.
Dude, the paint job on this is super cool.
I thought it was going to be like more like gray.
I thought it was going to be like plain gray.
Right.
Yeah, the whole deal, you know.
I didn't think you would see the definition in this tritone gray scheme, but
oh my God.
Panel line, rivet detail. Wow. Super cool assembly.
This fuselage is gorgeous.
Oh, nice. And then here's our wires are already seated in its own little compartment for the connector for the verticals. Right there. Oh.
Together too. Oh my gosh.
Look at that. We haven't seen the manual. Dude, is there any glue? Or is it screws or what? You guys, look at the detail on the gun.
This is so awesome.
You know, it's not often that we get a plane that there's any gluing at all to. But there's just a tiny bit on this one, and it's okay.
I think we can make an exception on this girl.
It's fine. Look at this, Bobby. You see this plastic bits here? They know that's hard to mold and easy, prone to damage. That's plastic on these corners right here.
Oh, that is sharp. Dude, look at all the scale fidelity.
It's crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Feel how solid this is, man. Is that open up? That access to something? We'll see later.
I bet you it's access to your receiver. Boom.
Oh my gosh, show them.
Look at that.
Look at that, dudes.
Nice.
There's your receiver.
Right to your receiver.
Oh.
Yep. Little magnetic hatch, you know. Boom. Bada bing. Oh my goodness.
Dude, it's time to get the camera off the sticks. We'll give you a good scan of the parts and start assembling it. Here is the ordnance laid out the way it is in the book. And we got our pave penny there in the middle. Look at the detail on that thing. That'll glue on. But these click and slide in. Really cool. And then you get the coverings for the wires and the servos right there, along with some nose steps. And you can see there are 4 machine screws to the assembly. Take a 2mm hex. Just that kind of stuff you're used to seeing from E-Flite. And you've got a little schematic on where to put some of the decals, things like that. And of course the wonderful laid out manual that helps you get it done. So not completely typical. There's just minimal gluing with the horizontal stab and the verticals. We're going to go ahead and dry fit this stuff before we... The book calls for CA, so medium CA, that's what I'm going to use. And I always keep this tape around because you might want it for these connections. So here we go. And there are 3 connections here. I love that there's plenty of room in there to tuck this away though. So here we are, 2 elevator, 1 rudder. Go ahead and open that up here as well. Save that tape also. Get these unfurled. And I did a bit of a dry fit before I undid the tape. Everything's nice. So yeah, a lot of times you don't have to glue the E-Flite planes, but you know, it makes sense to keep the weight down to have to glue on some of these bits back here. And they're definitely carbon reinforced and all that good stuff. But it's going to be a nice solid connection with the glue joint on these. So that's what we have to do first. And then we'll stick her in there. So we're just going to do it like this. And then it's just going to be a flip. If I wasn't filming and trying to get done, I would check these with a servo tester first. But I'm that confident with E-Flite that I'm going to go for it. Polarity is matching. Now, I think it's a miss not to try to tape. So I'm going to, just with the tape they provided me. Beautiful A-10, guys. Twin 64mm 6S. I mean, just too cool. Now I don't feel bad jerking around with these because I've got them taped up good. Let's double check. Everything is, oh yeah, nice and flush. And it looks like nothing's getting mashed. Pushing is better than pulling. Even with the tape, you don't want to pull these connections loose if you can help it. Guys, it all counts. You know, when they build these, they design them to be flat and straight, and they make room for these wires. But if you can screw down on a wire and sometimes get it to go where you want. But if you are gluing this down, you do not have that opportunity to tighten down or clamp down on it. So I suggest either reusing the tape that comes off the servos or doing something to make sure that stays right. Now I'm trying to get it as close to installed as possible before I bust out the CA. Unlike foam tack, where you're going to have a little bit more workable time, if you're doing CA and kicker, you do not have a lot of time. So I'm going to do my best like this. And I'm putting my kicker on here first. The whole mating surface, but not too much. And up here as well. and down and in. Oh, that was perfect. And then let it cure. I'm gonna let this sit for a little while and cure out. Even though it's CA, you can really work it right away. I'm not going to. What I'm gonna do is what I like to call a tack weld. Not gonna go crazy, but I'm gonna put just a little bit right there for now, and another on this seam. I'm gonna actually spread this one out. And hit it with kicker real fast. Tack weld it, so to say. Looks great on the side, just looks flat and perfect. Love it. So I'm gonna let that sit a little while, and then we'll glue on the vertical stabs. On the servo coming off for the rudder, this wire needs to be lying in this notch. It's a little tricky. You do it a couple times. Make sure you got that wire staying in. It's one of those things I don't really want to tape that. So it's going to be worth it in the end. I tell you that. So what I'm going to do for mine is put the kicker on there. And again, I'm going to be making sure this is in the trough like this. And kind of, you can kind of hold some, you hold some tension on it. See this? You can fold up here like this and slide it back. And I checked this earlier. Slide that back. And then when you peel it off, you can tell you stayed in that groove. Now I'm going to hold it like this and do my CA. And do one more little kicker. Make sure I got some. And get some CA here. And on the top and bottom, there's a lot of meat here to get it done. Hold that tension on the wire and cram that baby on. Yes, that is it. That is it. And then these wires, now I can tuck them away. Looks good, y'all. I like it. It's all square. Good. You can tuck these back in later, get them out of the way. I'm going to do the same thing. Where I tuck this one in, dry fit it. Yes, peel it back and make sure I like it. I do. It's right where it ought to be. Now I'm going to carefully get some CA in here. And we'll do the same thing, and you cannot dilly-dally here. There we go. Nice. Just like a glove. Yeah. Sweet. I'm going to go ahead and tack this one a little bit too. A little tiny bead right there. And right there. Here we go with this. Polarity. Yeah. And then tuck it. Oh, I love that. That is slick. That is slick. Awesome. Yeah. All right. I mean, the wing is next, and we can glue on the paved penny. Let's go ahead and do the wing. I love the way they have designed these to attach. That's it. I mean, goodness, you're in. Now, I'm going to assume the manual wants you to clamp down on these two back here by the connections. First, I cannot believe with this size of an A-10, I still get suspension landing gear. Tight but not crazy. Wow, that's awesome. While I got it belly up, check this out. I'm grabbing something flat to get her open. Look at this. Here's our receiver, AR636B. This is going to be for the bind plug. I love it that they do that extension. It's a good time to make sure everything's plugged in good. Might as well take a look at the polarity since you can. I'm going to go ahead and put this in. Bind plug's a jumper. You can't get it wrong. We'll leave the lid off. That'll remind us to pull the bind plug. Oh, guys. We'll see what's next. We may put the ordnance on. We are getting ready to dress this up. Ordnance and all. Let's see. Alright, so here's our paved penny down here. This goes right there. And that just glues on as well. Looks so nice. Kicker on the plane and then a little CA here. It does not have to be crazy. Oh my goodness, look at that. Yeah, yes. Be careful too. This stuff will evaporate, but if you go touching your plane a bunch, if it's got that kicker on there, it could mess up your paint. I'm not going to test it and see if it will on this, but I've just seen it happen to other planes. So let that cook off before you go handling it a bunch. That's my recommendation. What it's time to do now is grab my radio, set it up by the book, and get the gear down and the ordnance on and flip this baby over. It's ready. Okay guys, I want to show you how to set up your A-10 by the book. So we're going to start with, so we're at the main screen. I've already named it. Let's go into system setup. We're going to start with a brand new model. Model select, A-10, I already named it. Model type, airplane. Yep, you can reset the data, it's fine. Aircraft type, you're going to do one aileron, one flap. Alright, and then I like to go back to the home screen. It's going to want you to go to the function list. At the function list, you're going to go to servo setup because the book wants you to reverse the gear. You don't have to know why. You just have to do it. Sometimes it's something to do with the extra gain on the AS3X. Guys who fly their planes but don't do this reversing might encounter at speeds oscillation. Well, it's all about, you know, the onboard systems and trusting what it's asking for. So now we can scroll down to flaps since we set that up. If you don't do the one aileron, one flap, you won't have this flap system feature pop up to choose from. So here, flap system, we're going to turn it on and assign it to our 3-position flap switch, which is D. And position 0, which is at neutral, it calls for a -100, and that's going to be neutral for us. We're going by the book. I've got a DX9 right here. And then position 1 wants -10 for takeoff flaps. And then it wants 10% elevator mix. This is awesome because you can do it right here. Position 2, full flaps, asks for 70% flaps. So that's what we're going to do. And a 12% mix. I have a DX9, so I can go 2 seconds like the book says. There we go. Flaps are set up. We are all ready to bind this. That's how you set up the radio, by the book. All right, we're set up. We'll have to maybe adjust the time or two. We'll see what it calls for. Twin 64mm, but let's get this baby bound up. All right. It's shoehorned in there. I mean, that's tight. Yeah, I'm not sure you're going to get bigger than the 4,000 in there. But all right, so now binding. Old-fashioned style. So I'm going to push down on my switch and turn it on. And I'm way too close, so I'm going to walk away. Oh, flaps just went down. Oh, my goodness. The only thing I haven't done is set my rates. Oh, my goodness. This is amazing looking. So here we got our red, and then there's our green. We're going to flip this baby over and drop these gear. Oh, yes. And while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to grab my bind plug, get rid of that, and put back in my little cover. First shot on the gear. You ready? Oh my word. Love it. Suspension. Are you getting a load of this? Oh man, big beefy trunnions. These are the kind of trunnions you see on bigger models. I'm super impressed with the beef on these landing gear. And as is always the case on these landing gear that have the internal screws, not just the screws that screw it to the pocket, but the screws that screw the mechanism to the plate, I like to dot a little bit of foam tack or something on those little tiny screws so it doesn't, they don't vibrate out, because it can happen. Oh, it's time to get the ordnance on and dress up the wire channel. These go internal. So cool. Oh, they're labeled. Some of them are. Okay. That's nice. Once you start getting a dihedral angle on them. So this is labeled right. Can you see that right there? It's got an R on it. So this is the pilot's right wing. I love it that they labeled these. I mean, that little kind of stuff like that. Nice touch. Flaps. Landing gear. The flap settings called out are perfect. So that's takeoff flaps. That's still a good bit of flaps. Neutral is dead on. Full flaps. And you can see the elevator move just barely. And that makes sense too. So don't get confused when you see a numerical value say minus or not minus. It doesn't necessarily mean less or more. It's just a value. Okay. So while I got it belly up, let's get these stickers on the back end to cover the servo. So here's our covers. Look at this. This is great. You can line it up right on this. The camo and the panel line. Oh wow, that's really nice touch. That lines up really cool. Look at that. That's awesome. Man, even there on the vertical, the bottom of the... That's a nice touch, you guys. I'm so glad they did that. And here's the other one. Top notch. I mean, they made it really easy. You can just line up the camo and the panel line. Nice and straight. Look at that. Even takes this compound into account. That is slick. That is neat. Haha. Look at that. You know, guys will gripe about those black servos. Not now. Tape them up, Buttercup. Check it out. Okay. All we gotta do is set throws. 100%, 70%. A little tiny bit of expo. Pilots, it's time to go to bed. It's super late. Burning the midnight oil. Bringing you the best content I can. This assembly was a breeze. If you're not used to doing glues, take your time. You know, dry fit is really the name of the game. That way you're not surprised while stuff is all dry. And if you don't trust yourself with CA and kicker, then go with the slower cure. There's slower cure epoxies. Make sure it's foam safe, and then foam tack as well. That style of glue, test it, make sure you're good, but it's easy. You have work time. So if you don't like it now, you have to let it cure out as well. Sometimes I'll use foam tack and do the kind of tack weld method where I'll foam tack it, get it where I like it, you know, let it breathe, do all that stuff, stick it together, and then dot some CA on it so it'll hold it in place while it cures the rest of the way out. I love it. I think you can go back a little bit more on the battery, even 4,000. Dimensionally, it's really tight. You're going to want to make sure that you've got your Velcro buckles down the side, wires in the back, out of your way. We will get a little bit of our height back once we undo this strip of Velcro that's on the wooden deck. But for now, it was kind of a tight fit. But it feels really good with that 4,000 Smart Pack in here. It's in the future now when you're seeing this Skunk Works over here at the moment and in the middle of the night. We will see you next time, guys. Peace.